Dr. Dianna for welcoming here with all of you. I'm just really like, wow, look at all of your impressions. Wow. I'm just trying to take it in. I'm a kinesthetic kind of feeling type person, so I'm going to just take you all in. I know that you've been entrenched in this topic of identity, and I'm hoping that I can bring something special and something different to you all. I plan to approach this topic from psychology, psychotherapy, psychotherapeutic viewpoint, because identity is huge and it's very prevalent. Identity issues and concerns very prevalent in psychology, and especially in psychotherapy. I've seen thousands and thousands of clients coming in wanting to look at their lives because they're trying to find themselves. So this is what this topic is all about for me. The journey toward the self. Who am I really? Based on my experience, based on what I've seen, by sitting with tons and tons and lots of people from all ages, that people are wanting to find their true selves because the essence of who they are is missing. The essence of who they are have been stifled, have been rejected, have been denied. And what happens when parts of yourself, your essence, what happens when you've been rejected or denied or stifled in your growth? It causes problems. It causes problems for the individual, causes problems for their family. It's sad to say, but it's a reality because I've seen it so many times that people are not happy with themselves. People are not happy with who they are. You're at this age of development right now, at this stage, that you're in the process of finding yourself. You're here at Sonoma State. New place, new environment, learning new things, new people. It's huge. It's huge, but it's a good thing. You get to change here. So what I'm going to do is take you on a self-explorative journey. How does that sound? Come on, how does that sound? You ready to do a little work? I don't know what you've been up to and what you've been doing with all the other presentations, but I'm a very experiential type person, and I like people to really go down to the heart level. Really get invested. So what I'm going to do is, on this self-explorative journey, you're going to journey to understanding your identity. Let's see. Oh, that's okay. So just got to make sure these slides are correct. Okay. Let's see the 4 things that you're going to do. Cause stress, interruption or denial of the self can cause stress, move you off your path, and prevent you from being your authentic self. So that's what we're going to talk about. And so the last part that what we're going to do is look at how to make it better, how to make your life better. how to fix those parts that are not on the right path. And so, are you ready to journey toward the self? Okay. So I want you to just take a moment to just go inside and just think about where you are right now, today. Reflect on your personhood, the type of person you are, who you are. And ask yourself, are you deeply connected? Are you deeply connected with yourself, who you are? Okay? So just really focus on yourselves, not your friends, not what's happening around you. Allow yourself just to be in yourself with me for the time that we have. Are you comfortable in your skin? Who you present to the world, who you present to others. Because identity is about who we are as unique individuals, identifying, knowing, and owning the self, owning who we are. Because you know why? Because we all matter. You matter. Ownership of yourself is important, especially at this time. So we have a gift. The gift of life is being able to be oneself. Get that gift. Understand it. And this is difficult for lots of people in general. But it's most difficult for college students coming in. It's a new beginning. Some of you came in and you're probably frightened. You probably still are frightened. And then you have this group that came in and was like, hallelujah, woo, I'm free. I know a lot of those teens right out of high school, and they're ready. They're ready for the ride. But it's okay. The ones who are frightened, the ones who are ready for the ride, you're different. Everybody's different. You all got here from different paths. Different experiences brought you here. I always like to say it would be boring if we were all the same, right? It would be boring if we were all the same. Just imagine yourself filling up this whole space. Come on, where's the humor? That would be funny, right? Maybe some of you might think that. I remember when I was younger, I used to think that if I only had a few more of me around, you know, the world might be a better place. So when I think of identity, I think of the self. I think that the self there's many, many different parts that represent who we are. And these parts are important to us. And these parts, they're the glue that make us unique. These parts are the glue that make us unique. So let's just take a look at all of those different parts of the self that make us unique, okay? So what I've done is just made a list. And you probably can add to the list, and each of these topics can be expanded upon. But I just wanted to kind of give you a sense of what makes us unique, what makes us who we are. And so personality is vast, right? It's huge. Gender and sexuality issues our identities are different now. They're just not female or male or feminine or masculine. The spectrum is a wider spectrum. And race. People are more interested in their cultural heritage now. Probably half of you have gone on to Ancestry.com and Ancestry DNA just to find out more of your identity, more of that part of yourself. Identity. All of these represents people's identities. Some might be on the forefront, and some might be in the background. You might have a conversation. I have a conversation with people. I go out to a party. They might tell me after 3 sentences of introducing themselves that they're in recovery. So they hold that as a big part of their identity. That's how vast this is. And the same with like marital status. People pride themselves on being a step-parent, right? It's where you come from. Athletes. And it gets harder for athletes when they get older. You know, midlife crisis. What? I can't play football anymore? So who am I? Who am I when I can't do my sport? And so that might be on the front burner for somebody and maybe way back there for somebody else, but they like football. So we come at different places. We come from different places. I consider myself an activist for Black Lives Matter, for LGBTQ issues, for freedom, for justice, for all people, equality for all people. So these are just categories. And you probably can come up with more in your classes, but this is just some of the ones that I thought would be important to put up. So let's take a look at your own identity and what glues you together. So everybody, you have pieces of paper, correct, and a pen. I see you writing. So what I want you to do, your first exercise, and we're going to do some exercises here because I want to engage you so you can take the journey. That's what it's all about, you taking the journey within yourself. First exercise, I want you to write your own list of all the parts of your identity. So I'm only going to give you about 20 seconds. So just kind of write all of those parts of yourself that you can think of that represents you. And don't be shy. Nobody's going to see this but you. I'm not going to call on you to answer anything. Just be true to yourself. Just a few more seconds. I see you writing, that's good. Okay. At least you got 1 or 2 down, right? So how many got 5 or less? Did anybody get up to 10? 15, 20? Don't be shy. Okay. That's about right. I've been working with 18-year-olds and been asking them to do this exercise and without even seeing the list. And they were like around 6. So I'm glad I'm here working with you and doing this piece of work so you can dive deeper into yourselves. So this is the good stuff. Now we're moving. The identity journey. Based on my experience and what I've seen, what I've heard, I'm going to take you through the journey that I take my clients through to help them become their authentic, true selves and following their own path. So, how have you been shaped? How have you been molded into becoming the person that you are? The person who you think you are, the person who you want to be, or the person you are yet to become. Begin your thinking process. It's a long journey from when you were born to right now, 18, 19. We get to be who we are by many different avenues. Can you think of some of those avenues? How did you get to be who you are? That's the start right there. The identity journey. We're shaped and molded by our parents, by our family, our peers, society, community, heredity, genes, trauma. Yes, trauma. Trauma shapes us. If you experience abuse, violence, car accidents, we're on one path, trauma hits, it derails us. We're off on another path. I've seen it, I've heard the stories over and over and over again. We are influenced by others. We see things, we learn things, we know what the do's, we know what the don'ts are. We are denied things. We are denied parts of ourselves. Just recently, when I was thinking about talking here, was saying, what story can I share? And I have so many, but just recently, on Monday, I got a call from a dear friend of mine who was very distraught, not wanting to be on this earth anymore, very distraught. And it was interesting because I wanted to just speak briefly about her story of being a child, growing up knowing that she was a lesbian and what she had to go through in her family of being abused and them trying to, what's that exercise, like take the demon out of her. And she was abused and treated poorly, and as a result, that part of her identity was squelched for so long and full of turmoil. And so what happened as a result of her not being able to be her true self, she became addicted to alcohol to soothe the pain. And that's been her journey. And she's still dealing with the pain of being rejected by the people who're supposed to care for you, care for us. So how many of you were told that you couldn't do something or you couldn't be something? Think about that. Think about how many times the door was closed. How many times you had to try something else. So take a moment and just write down some of those things that you were told, even at 2, if you remember something at 2. I have people come into my sessions in their 50s and 60s and they have pain from when they were 5 or 6 or 7. They remember the pain. They remember where the parts of their lives stopped and they had to take a different turn in their lives. And if you haven't had that in your life, you've been blessed. So just allow yourself to write, how many times you can remember when your parents or you've heard society or your community say, no, you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't. Didn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. It's like losing a part of yourself. So, on the journey, so this list is for you. Just hold on to it. So the stages, I'm just briefly going to go through the stages, not go through them, but I just wanted you to have a sense of the stages of psychosocial development. These are by Erik Erikson. And so Erikson was concerned about, he believed that we needed to be successful, be competent in a certain area of our lives as we were growing up. And so each stage of development represented something that we needed to be able to accomplish. And if that wasn't the case, it was not going to serve us well. For instance, infancy, trust versus mistrust. That's really crucial for an infant to be mirrored, especially by the parent, to be seen, to be touched, to be nurtured, to be fed, all the basic needs. And so the baby learns to trust the environment. And if that's not happening, then mistrust is built. And so then the next stage, but what I want you to see is adolescence, identity versus role confusion. This is the time where teens need to feel a sense of self, a sense of being their authentic selves. And when that happens, they feel empowered, they feel successful. And when that doesn't happen, role confusion. And then the next one, young adulthood. Intimate relationships. This is the stage of intimate relationships, loving relationships. And when you can't find those connections, there's a sense of loneliness and isolation. So following me here, we're impacted, we are molded and shaped by our community, our families, and we're just moving through to the stages, moving through, and things are not connecting. If they're not connecting in these different stages, if you're not feeling successful, there's conflict. Conflicts affect identity formation. When the child needs and wants are not met, when there's trauma, abuse, these experiences interrupt the natural flow of becoming. Causing emotional problems, identity issues, self-denial, like my friend. It causes psychological problems, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, which causes depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, confusion, addiction, self-harm, and suicide. People just want to be themselves. Based on what I've learned by listening to so many people, I like to think of identity as I'm doing everything necessary to identify the yearning within. We yearn. Our soul yearns for something not to be squelched. So think about, what is your yearning? What is your yearning? Think about that. And if something comes to you, just write it down. We all yearn. I yearn for lots of important things. On my journey to find my authentic self, and that was my yearning. I wanted to find my footing. I wanted to find myself. I wanted to know who I was. I grew up with mom and a dad. My dad was peripheral. He wasn't involved. My mom did all the parenting. But my mom was so busy trying to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table and making sure my dad brought home the paycheck so that she can do that. My mom, I didn't have anyone to see my specialness. I didn't hear the words, I love you. Like the mistrust and the trust. I didn't have that experience. I knew I had a meal, I knew I had a house, but kids need to be touched. I don't remember sitting on my mom's lap and she's telling me how wonderful and how beautiful I am and that I can be anything, anybody and do anything. So I was on a journey to find myself. I worked hard at it because I felt wobbly. I don't know if you feel this way at 18, but I did. It's like, where am I going? Who am I? So I believe we all have a story. I'm convinced. I see doctors, lawyers, accountants, everybody. Everybody's got a story. So what I've learned to do for myself, to get my footing, to find out who I am as a person, I ask myself that question, who am I? And then as I grew on my journey, I felt like something was still missing. So I added another word to it. You got to get creative. And I believe I have a creative mind. And so I have to do whatever I have to do to make me happy. And that was me finding myself. Who am I really? So I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, who am I? And just ask yourself, who am I? Out loud. Can you try it out loud? Who am I? And feel into that. Who am I? Okay? Notice how that feels. And now I want you to feel into who am I really? And maybe you want to put your hand on your heart and on your stomach like this. And just allow yourself to drop. This is about dropping into yourself and connecting with yourself. So let me hear you say, who am I really? Feel into it when you say the words. Again. Okay, you feel that? Can you feel the difference? No? You can feel the difference? It drops you down a little bit? Further? Okay, so I want you to, here's an exercise I want you to do. I want you to pair up, no need to move around, just the next person next to you. You might know this person, you might not. So if you don't know this person, just say, hi, my name is Sarah. Okay, and my name is John. Okay, okay, good, great. So, okay, good, good. I need somebody to be an A, and I need someone to be a B. A, okay, let's quiet down. A is going to ask, who are you really? And B is going to answer, I am. And it's going to be like rapid fire. So soon as the answer comes from B, A is going to like ask again, okay? Understand? Okay, so I'm going to give you 20 seconds, and don't think the other person's off the hook, because we're going to switch. Okay? Ready, go. Rapid fire. Wow, great. I like that. That was some energy there. Okay, let's switch. B is going to ask. Just switch and I'll tell you when to go. Okay? And then you'll talk about it in a second, but let's do the second round. Okay, go. Okay, great. Okay, now take about, each of you take a turn just to say how that was for you. So start. Just. Was it hard? Okay. Was it hard? No? Oh, you're all pros, right? Was it easy? It was easy. Oh, okay, cool. I like that self-confidence. That's great. But if it was difficult, understandable, so just use it as a marker. Use it as a practice. You know, play around with it with your friends, or do it by yourself. Record yourself. So here's the big question. What parts didn't you share? What parts didn't you share? Think about it. Here we go. Denying who you are is like living inside a box and being smothered. This metaphor I use with up-and-coming psychologists and mental health professionals. We do experiential work about the box. Because when we don't share parts of ourselves, we live in a box. That's the metaphor I like to use. So what I do in my classroom is we set up an area where there's like a box, an enclosure. And we have these up-and-coming psychologists and 50 and 60-year-olds and 40-year-olds and 20-something-year-olds they put themselves in the box and they share their experiences. And then we have them travel out. What would it look like for them to travel outside the box and be real and be authentic in their lives and come here and be full bloom and blossom into the beautiful, courageous person that they are? It's powerful. It's impactful. We're in a box because of what society, the expectations from other people, from the media, from religion, from our peer groups. It's an unhappy, dark place that so many people live there. And so what happens when you're trapped in a place that you don't want to be in? Negative voices grow. And the negative voices keep you in the box. How many of you know about the negative voices that you hear in your head? Negative voices, look at that. And some of them are mean. I hear the stories. The negative voices, they cause confusion and they make you feel frozen, like you don't know what to do because you're not trusting yourself. What's right and what's wrong. Full of shame, they make you fearful of life, fearful of living. Some of the negative voices might say you're stupid. One thing I want you to understand the difference. Those voices say you, not I. Because those you voices come from another place. They come from the journey. They come from the peers. They come from the society. They come from parents. And so in my sessions, I have the negative voice and I have the positive voice. And it's important to differentiate those voices. I have clients all often tell me, but they're the same to me. You know why they're the same? Because that's the conditioning. That's what they know. That's the only voice that they know. No one will ever love you. No one will ever love you. And many of my foster kids have had that negative voice in their heads. And so what they do, they always attract people who are not good for them because they don't feel good about themselves. So they attract somebody who's not good for them. And they get themselves in more trouble. Why go to college? You're going to fail anyways. The voices become the leader. Those negative voices become the leader. I'm not exaggerating. I've seen thousands of clients, and you wouldn't believe how people's lives are led by these negative voices. And so when they come to me, I break down the walls. I break down the walls of the box so they can be set free. Think about your negative voices you hear. What do they say to you? Write a few of them. What do they say to you? So if you're walking around and you have these negative voices in your head, are you really being you? So I like to think of people wear masks. We wear masks. Come on, you all know about wearing masks. You fake when you're, like, oh, I'm having a good old chill time, but really you're like bored. Come on. We know about faking it. What mask are you wearing? Who do you show to the world, to your community, to your parents? You have a life with your parents, and then you have a life with your peers, life at school. Who are you really? So another exercise. So I'm giving you like a glimpse into the journey into yourself. So you can always expand on these exercises. I'm just kind of giving you the idea. So I want you to draw a mask on your piece of paper. And on that mask, I want you to write all those different parts of yourself that are not real that you show to the world. This is how you survive. People have to wear masks. This is what they do until they learn better, until they learn a new way. Who do you present to the world versus who you are? If you were to remove your mask, how would you show up in your life? Think about that. It's an important question. So you get an opportunity to write it down. On the outside of your mask, who would you be without your mask? What is your yearning? What parts are you hiding? This is only for your eyes only. If you get this now, the journey might be easier as you move forward. That's why I wanted to give you an insight into yourself and how you're living this beginning year at Sonoma State. So the goal is to find a cohesive self where all your parts come together and make the best possible you. Fill in the little blanks there. Fill in the puzzle pieces. That's your journey. That's the journey you're on. What's my time? And so how do you make this happen? How do you make this happen? By self-acceptance. You came from a place, but you don't have to stay there, especially when it doesn't fit. You came from a place, but you don't have to stay there, especially if it doesn't fit. As I said, I've learned by counseling so many people in dire straits, many families. But one thing they came in the door wanting to do was to change, grow, and heal. They wanted out of the box. They wanted to find their true selves. And so I'm going to show you briefly how that happened. These are the things I help my clients be successful in changing their lives and finding their true identities. Learn about your past. Excuse me. Learn about your past and how it's hindering you. Remember the stages of development? Listen to your yearning, your soul. What's that voice that you keep ignoring? You could call it intuition, you can call it whatever you want, but we all have that voice that sometimes we ignore. Fuel yourself with positive self-talk. I am okay, I am smart, and if I need some help, I can go get some tutoring. I can go to one of my professors to let them know that I need some help. I don't have to be alone. I don't have to do it alone. Fuel yourself with good people and good experiences. Sometimes clients come in and I have to say, that's not working, that's not working, that's not working. How long have you been doing it? For the last 10, 15 years? It's not working. Let's do something else. Build your self-esteem. You probably hear that all the time. Build your self-esteem, and how do you do that? That's important. It's your foundation. It's having a solid foundation under you. It's about self-love, self-confidence. It's your worthiness, all in a package. Stand boldly in your truth. I know I'm going to have to end. But I want you to just take this image of yourself. I want to do a visualization, but I won't do that. I just want you just to hold on. Just imagine yourself being totally free, totally authentic, starting right now today. Not holding back. Imagine yourself on some of the areas on campus where you're feeling some difficulty or some fear. Imagine yourself being your authentic, true self. And let that empower you. So, your identity is yours. You get to choose who you are, no one else. So my final words, I know some of you are getting antsy, but I hope you understand this message. Live your life. It's yours. Find out who you are and be you and do you. No one else. Because if you don't, I might be seeing you 10, 20 years from now. I mean, that's okay. It happens. It's money in my pocket. But I want you to have an opportunity now. Most people don't get this opportunity. So I want to give you some tools, something that will work for you. So last, a couple quotes. Be yourself. Everyone is taken. Oscar Wilde. I want to thank all of those who said no. It is because of them I am doing me. And that's my life, right there. Albert Einstein. You are okay. And I really want to thank you for your invitation. I really enjoyed myself being here. Your wonderful class. I wish you the best. I wish that one thing you could take away from here. So thank you. Thank you.